Hello everybody, this is Vinton, aka BitB, and welcome out to another BitB stream. Thanks for coming out. It is Sunday. We are playing a little bit of Phoenix Wright. And this is the second time I've tried to start up today, because XSplit decided it wanted to just crash on me for some reason. I don't know why. Nothing else on the computer. It's just like XSplit completely and utterly froze. Seemed to still be streaming out to people though, I think. And I'm gonna have to look into that. But, besides from that, like I was saying before, I don't know, it's interesting for me because I just got off of a 6-hour live stream of us playing D&D 5th edition. Oh, that was freaking... It was fun, but wow, we need to start finally adjusting ourselves into better spacing for our episodes, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. It's time for us to do a little bit of Phoenix Wright. So let's just go on over to this tab and just start. I hope nothing else happens. Anyway, so part 4-1 trial. So the last time, we were, we had swapped over to being Phoenix, and we were trying to figure out what, where Maya was. Is she alive? Is she okay? I don't know. I have no idea. But we have uncovered a whole lot of other things along with it, including the identity of our murderee. So let's go ahead and just dive right in here. February 10th, 9:39 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 1. Good morning! Okay. Good start. Immediately with pearls. What? Are you by yourself? Morning, Pearls.
Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mystic Maya?
I'm sorry. We don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple.
Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall?
No. She's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court.
Then how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby?
I have to admit, it's kind of strange. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor. Oh no. Who? What? Oh, hey, Edgeworth. Edgeworth? What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. Or so I heard. Francesca von Karma, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. Well, yeah, of course. We kind of figured that out. Godo was the one that's just like, I'm taking this trial, but then who is? Who else would it be but Godo? Godo? Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern.
The Sacred Cavern? You don't mean the sheep?
Exactly. She's been out there all night, trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly as we receive some good news soon. Yeah. Thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Godo intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. Touché. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday. Strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold on to someone else, literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands. Partner. He called me partner! Thanks. Sorry. Schoolgirling. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise de Nim... No, I mean Miss Misty Fey. the impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. What do you think? I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. Boy, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that we are, like, outsiders on this case, but I feel like it's very, very obvious. Maybe it's the fact that we got a bunch of cutscenes that he didn't get. Remember. Anyways, it's 10 o'clock, District Court number 7. And we're here. I think we just got regular old judge today. Good. I missed the original judge. You know, it's like, it's really fun to do the Canadian accent, but I love the original judge. He's so silly. Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakura Temple. Meh. Your Honor. What are you... Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. He caught the cold. Great. I see, Your Honor. So, they're brothers. Well, that explains a lot. So, wait, is the judge Canadian, too? I'm not changing my voice to that. Oh, you hosers. No. Oh, my poor brother. He looked a bit pale, not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. Drink it down. It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have seen charged with the solemn duty of passing said judgment. Well said, Mr. Godot. I understood exactly what you said. At least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There's only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. Cappuccino beans. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. So, then you mean... forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make. Confession? The defendant did... Iris... Why didn't she discuss this with me first? Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession. Well, this is bad. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. You're a scumbag.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes, but first I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's all right. What is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise Donim?
No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it.
What? Okay. That's news to me. Order in the court. Order. Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
What? Yeah. Oh, okay. So, I guess that's our best case scenario now, unless she's lying here. 3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. Just happens to be that in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? That Godo. So this is the confession they were conferring about. Pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie. Ah, crap. Well, it was useful when it was useful. Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone. Now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle, or a life jacket, and covered in a cold.
I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Kurain tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family.
I'm sorry, but main family?
Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. The daughter of the master of the Kurain channeling technique.
You bullshit. Mystic Maya Fane! Huh? I think I have a good idea of who is actually the murderer now. Wake up and smell the coffee, tried. Jeez, naming. Maya! Order! Order in the court! So not only did you witness the murder, you knew the name of the murderer?
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her.
That's ridiculous. Maya could... The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. I didn't either. So, great. Even if they do manage to save her from that cave, there's a very good chance that she's just going to be arrested. Gotta save her.
I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it.
So it was in self-defense?
Yes. Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
So, I mean, I think we've already discussed this before in a previous Phoenix Wright game, but I'm trying to remember in what way. But yeah, even if you are let off by, with self-defense, you're still labeled as a murderer, and that's not a very good badge to be wearing, so even that's not a good thing. You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You got the instincts of a true criminal. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. Yipe. I don't know. I feel like I'm not prepared for this. I went to the inner temple. All right, I'm just gonna save for protection's sake. Just because I like being happy with this game. All right, let's scoop for some information. I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple.
Objection. Did she now? Too bad for you. What she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go?
I was in the Inner Temple's training hall.
A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay, rather, not heresy. That was what I was about to say.
What do you have to say, witness?
I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she?
Not quite. However,
I didn't want you to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder.
There, we all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden?
Well, Your Honor, I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff.
You're saying that the victim attacked Maya? I mean, Miss Faye?
Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse.
What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting?
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock.
That's perfectly understandable, my dear.
This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute.
What happened after that?
While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike.
She moved in to deliver a fatal strike?
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Wait a minute! What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
Dagger, huh? And Elise Donim tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Faye?
Yes, exactly.
You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce.
Jesus. How do you mistake that? Smells are completely different. What kind of coffee are you drinking?
Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy?
Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony? I mean, I don't think anybody ever found a knife. The only one that I know of is a concealed one, and nobody would have known about that one. Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony.
You do? But this witness is your own client.
Yes, well, nevertheless.
Yeah, that's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that.
Listen, Gramps. I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. Okay, now, let's continue.
She threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe.
Again, where's the proof of that? We don't have... If you definitely have a dagger that was used in the supposed maybe killing of somebody, where's that evidence? That's all I can think. She threw her staff away?
Mystic Elise was trying to kill Mystic Maya. I think that's why she wanted a more lethal weapon.
I have proof to the contrary.
It's true. It's not easy to inflict a deadly blow with a staff.
Sister Iris, let me make sure I've got this straight. The victim herself chose to throw away her staff?
Yes, that's what I saw.
Is there anything odd about that, Mr. Wright?
Yeah, it's odd, all right.
Mystic Elise attacked Mystic Maya with the dagger. I'm sure of this.
I think I know what the contradiction is, but for the sake of cover and everything. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. And then...
Mystic Maya, she turned things around and then... she used the weapon she had taken and lunged forward for a strike.
Don't believe him. I don't believe a minute of this.
Witness, are you absolutely certain?
Yes, but believe me, she had no choice. If Mystic Maya hadn't done something...
Maya Fey's name would have been written on this autopsy report instead.
Yes, I see.
This is bad. I still can't put the pieces together. Unless I find a contradiction in her testimony, Maya's going to get blamed for this.
I only have this to say. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it.
So you're saying Maya Fey was the one who stabbed Miss Elise Donim? Sister Iris, is that really what you saw?
Yes.
Objection.
Tisk, try it. Coffee. If your mug is filled with black and bitter suspicions, the only way to get rid of them is to drink them down, quick.
Like this? I know that's supposed to be a metaphor, but I don't get it. Neither do I. I was gonna ask, like, what does that mean?
There's only one thing you need to get tried. It's called evidence. Now hurry up, before my next cup gets cold.
What does that mean? Is Godo waiting for me to point out the contradictions? Yeah, probably. This is probably a complete plant. I'd like to avoid the whole spirit channeling thing if I can. Not only would it be inadmissible as evidence, but I think it might actually hurt our standing with the judge. First, I need to pick her testimony apart and expose the unnatural sounding parts. I don't know why Iris would tell a story like this, but there are two things I noticed that just don't add up. Threw her staff away and pulled the dagger from inside her robe. Well, I think now would be a very good time to finally expose the victim's staff, which in and of itself is a damn sword. There we go. Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Mr. Nim throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with a staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. If Elise Donim really had wanted to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say?
That was an impressive bit of investigating, Wright. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade.
Well?
Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony.
But there is something strange about this whole testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright!
I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Donim would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Right then. And the proof would probably be... oh, probably her identity, honestly. But let me just think about this real quick before I decide on the evidence I think it is. Yeah, I think... well, alright, which part of this is it? Hanging scroll? or the Curain Master's Talisman. I think it might be the Curain Master's Talisman, honestly, because that direct... Let's go through the line of things. Talisman, she was wearing, and that talisman matches up perfectly with Hang Scroll. I think the first step would be the talisman.
Well, Mr. Go...
Oh, God, I got it wrong, didn't I?
If you ask me, the only thing that seems strange is the angle of Mr. Trot's index finger.
Stop making fun of my fingers.
Trot, sticking your finger in an electrical outlet might be safer for you. Otherwise, it might get bitten off the next time you poke it in the wrong place.
Yeah. Damn. Hello, Thomas. I still don't think that Mr. Nim would ever attack Maya. If you think about their relationship, it's obvious. Okay, so I need to go directly for the relationship. Shit. Okay. At least Nim would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Well, the Hanging Scroll directly showed that Misty Fey thing, so meh.
Well, Mr. Goat...
Oh, God. Well, I think I'm just... I've already sort of screwed this one, so I'm just going to start presenting stuff.
Well, Mr. Godo?
Nope.
Well, crapola. I don't know. But... it's because of the damn layout? Nope. I guess... yeah, alright, I guess it's probably this. At least to Nim. Real name, Misty Fey. Maya's mother, Master of Curate. I'm sure this is probably it. Yeah, Yep. Again, they were not conveying that properly to me. They say evidence, I think piece of evidence. Right. At least Nim would never have attacked Maya Fey. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name was not Elise Nim. Her real name was Misty Fey.
Fey?
No! Not Misty Fey!
Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to...
Misty Fey is the master of the Curain channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey.
Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Nim actually the great Misty
Fey? There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years? Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing.
Order in the court! Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seems natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, 1, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and 2, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the fact being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Listen, there's nothing in the world that is impossible. Except for one little thing.
Yes? What is that one little impossible thing?
You still don't get it? You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps.
Could you get to the point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of...
8th cup of morning coffee. My God, that's just your morning coffee?
You're going to ruin your health, my friend.
Yes.
Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
What is that? Oh, it's a dagger. Shit.
Is that a dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Where the hell did that come from?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it.
Yup. Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene.
Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
Huh? The pine tree?
This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree when the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree.
Which means the blood on this dagger belonged to the victim, correct?
Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I'd taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
Did you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately.
Ah, great.
Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
Damn it.
Cute girls never lie. Ever.
Unless we're talking about one particular one that's a she-witch.
In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mario's asking who I think the killer is and why they did it. You know, again, let's just bring up the whole toxicity of the Faye family. I really feel like the bikini has got something to do with it, and Iris is just covering up for her. That's kind of my assumption on this at this point. I feel like that old lady has got a little bit more evil in her heart than we know. But we'll see.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff. But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern.
Right.
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
Right.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Oh, yeah? We'll find something. Here. Saves. Very fortunate that I managed to fail, what was that, 2 or 3 times. But I managed to get it right on, like, the 3rd time with full health. I'm gonna need that health, I feel.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit on the head with the staff.
Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all this?
What do you mean?
Well, if either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle.
I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so I think that's why they didn't see me.
So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Maya Fey do after she was struck?
But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon.
Very Gosu. Very ninja-like reflexes. What happened to the victim's staff then?
I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up.
Oh, okay. Random struggle. No Gosu about it. Nothing sounds especially strange yet.
What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one that on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern.
You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes! But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger.
I still can't believe that. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point, that's just silly. What do you have to say?
As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal.
I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified.
Your animal analogies have grown tiresome.
You were the one who started it!
Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next?
That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise.
Alright. Why are we showing a picture of it? Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw?
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost? Yeah, exactly. Almost?
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who.
What did she just say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
We know that Maya Fey was at the inner temple that night, and that the woman that was killed was Elise Donim. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who?
I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Then Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh?
Yes. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
Where did that dagger go?
I have no idea. It was dark and I couldn't see.
According to the detective who found the dagger, it was stuck into the pine tree in the garden. Most likely was flung towards the tree after the struggle.
That is the most likely explanation, yes.
After being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse right away?
Now that I think of it, she seemed to stare at Mystic Maya for a while, and Mystic Maya stood there, not moving an inch. It felt for a moment like time had just stopped. But then, suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over.
Seems like a reasonable story at first, but there's one thing that is completely impossible. The very idea of Maya stabbing someone. That alone is impossible. Which means this faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. Okay. Don't think the tracks would do anything. Maybe the autopsy report? Yeah. Well, okay, hold on a second. No. Time 10 to 11 p.m. Cause loss of blood from stab in... Oh. Wait. No. No. She dodged Mystic Elise's next weapon and stole... Yeah. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was in, like, one of the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Really? Because according to the autopsy report, she was stabbed in the back. Objection! Clever. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony? According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yes, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right?
Yes, I think so.
But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. Duh! This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. God! Waka wakas.
What? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and back. You get my drift?
Nope.
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind.
Could you just spout facts and not, like, you know, ideology or whatever the hell? Could you please knock it off with that cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach.
There certainly are some inconsistencies.
Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing.
What do you mean? Drinky drink.
There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee.
Stop talking about coffee.
But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. We really concentrated on what the witness actually said.
Prosecutor Godo, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't clearly see.
Yeah. Damn it.
A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light?
By the way, did you know Hazakura has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit?
I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for.
Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor, but according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern.
Impossible?
It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Yes, that illuminating fact has changed all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite?
Aren't you part human at least? No! Okay, how do we prove that that thing was actually lit?
Order, order, order!
Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it'll rekindle the flame of truth in your mind.
All right. No, I'm 100% coffee. True. You could probably press him and make, like, all of the espressos that you need to, like, give an espresso to everybody within... Oh, I don't know. Probably New York or something. Anyway, why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face?
What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot?
This lantern. There's something written on it. Why? It's written in blood!
Oh, boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet?
Written in blood?
Did you know about it?
It says Maya upside down.
I'm surprised he was just like, it says I am! No, okay. A little more credit to the judge.
What the?
Oh, yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
Boo! Surgically removed all blood and replaced with coffee. Well, that explains why he needs so much of it, that's for sure.
Certainly looks that way.
Hang on just a minute. What are y'all talking about?
What do you mean, what are we all talking about?
We're talking about the message written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle.
Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday.
My eyesight's pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
So that's what he meant by that.
In any case, this is obviously an important clue.
So because he can't see the color red, he let something slip.
We now know that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim sprawled the message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further?
Does not compute.
Mr. Godot?
Okay then. Let's move on.
Godo is literally shaking. And somehow I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. It could be.
I believe it has now been established that Mr. Nim was killed by Maya.
No, it was not. That's just wrong.
Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears.
Cover up.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Kurain tradition, so I removed the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hasakura Temple and... I used the Shishishido to alter the way the wound looked.
So you moved the body.
Yes. I was raised at Hasakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Donim was actually Misty Fae.
And you stabbed her in the back. Good job.
I've committed a terrible sin.
A terrible trick of fate.
I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor.
I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body, but...
You were spotted by the head nun, correct?
Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, got lucky with that last one. Because it was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. Right. After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. Why am I sure, press it. So you waited until everything was over before making a move?
No, it's not like that.
She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly as I wait for them to reach a conclusion.
Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument?
It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Kurain tradition.
Mm-hmm. So then, you knew the significance of the name Maya Fey?
Yes, of course I did.
That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position.
Anyway, she was a very special person indeed. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene.
You moved her body all by yourself?
Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow.
The snow, huh?
I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge.
Oh, whoopsies. All the way across Dusky Bridge, huh? It's pretty amazing that you could make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge.
It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age.
It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold.
But there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into Eagle River? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple.
I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible.
Makes perfect sense to me, for the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed that bridge?
Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and...
The snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? Absolutely. About the snowmobile. Let me hear more about the snowmobile ride.
Well, it was very cold that night, so I rode it all the way to the foot of the bridge.
Objection!
I'm sorry, witness, but now I've got a problem with your testimony.
Excuse me?
Kodo, what are you up to now?
That night, after the head nun left the remainder of the training to you, she said she walked from the inner temple back to Hazakura Temple.
Yes, I'm fairly certain that's what the record indicates.
Let's recall her comments on the subject.
Maybe, but when I made it back to Hazakura Temple, it was there by the main gate. The snowmobile, I mean.
The snowmobile was in front of the main gate. This is one of those contradictions, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Interesting.
Order! Mr. Godo! Why are you pointing out contradictions in the witness's testimony?
Let's just say I like things to be neat and tidy, okay?
Well, maybe Sister Bikini missed it? Yes, maybe she didn't see it.
You think she missed it? That doesn't sound right.
Whatever. Even I don't think this is decisive enough to warrant any more time or effort. Yeah, it's just... You better be careful in your testimony. That's all I wanted to say. Smart little cookie like you shouldn't have any trouble understanding that.
Yes, sir.
What's that all about? Why would Godo want to give me a hint? Maybe it's a trap.
Very well then, let's continue with the testimony. So you transported the body by snowmobile all the way to Hazakura Temple Courtyard.
Yes, I thought that way Mystic Maya would never be suspected. That's what I thought anyway. And then
no. Let's check this again real quick. A snowmobile. Should I ask more details? Tracks. If you really did move her body by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right?
Well, yes, naturally you would expect tracks.
This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride?
yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. Snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple.
I see. Snow was still falling, huh?
And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony?
For shits and giggles, I don't really know myself. I mean, it does line up with what we were talking about. But these questions usually lead to something, so... When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Your Honor! I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony.
But does it have something to do with this case?
All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record.
This should be fun. You. Let's give this snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
Interesting. Well, that's odd, considering the fact that we know that there were a crystal sphere. Yeah, the crystal sphere was buried under snow at that moment in time. So why would it be under snow, covered in blood, and the snow had stopped at that point? I think we got ourselves something. But before I cover that, come here. I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. Alright, yeah, my logistics on this is that if the snow had already stopped, then why did the crystal sphere get buried under snow?
Objection!
Oh. Okay. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement?
I'm not sure I follow you. It clearly contradicts the, You don't sound very sure, Mr. Wright. Objection denied.
Shit. That doesn't really line up all that well. Because it looks like the snow kept going till 10:50. I think this might be it.
Objection!
No, okay. Does it have to do with the tracks?
Objection!
Nope.
Objection!
No, okay.
Objection!
No, okay, I figured not. I wanted to refresh my health anyways. Meh. Good thing I saved. Press the 5th statement and then present the weather data on the 4th statement. What statements are those? Okay, so this is one. Okay, yeah, I pressed that stuff. And the 4th statement is it. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. And then the weather data? I guess I'm having a hard time figuring out why exactly that would be. I mean, is the argument that it's not snowing or it is snowing? Is it difficult to walk across the bridge at that time? Does it have something to do with the lightning? Lightning struck at 10:45, is that it? Oh, is that it? Wait a minute. Yeah. Lightning struck the bridge at 10:45 and the snow 7 to approximately 10:50 p.m. Oh, is that the logic? Because at that moment in time, the bridge would have been struck by lightning? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention to these statements. I was paying a shitload of attention to the final statement that I unlocked. Wait, why did we need to even unlock the 5th statement in the first place? By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. Oh, and then dragged it way across the Dusky Bridge. Okay, all right, that's what they were trying to do. Jumping through so many hoops, I don't know. My brain works pretty well, but this one frustrated the hell out of me. Because it required doing a whole lot of backtracking to other stuff. So,
Objection!
yeah, I'm not even mad that I got advice for that one. Because, like I said, I would not have figured that out. Because that was frustrating. You claimed that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible. What? This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Why do you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge? It was on fire?
You don't mean to say you didn't know about it? It was because of the lightning strike that the bridge burned down.
What? But it can't be.
It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney. No! Finally some progress.
Order, order, order!
The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right, the inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed the bridge. Body or no body.
Witness, even my patience has its limits. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Coffee man?
The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man.
How dare you? Me? How dare you?
Yes.
Whether the witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now.
Squat? I think it does. Reputable witnesses and all that.
The important thing now is to find out the truth. Isn't that right?
Yes, of course, but...
Whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not, there are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Donim was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Elise's Donim's body.
He makes a good point on both accounts.
That's right. I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all last night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy.
Meh. You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy?
Objection!
It is only human to err. If you're so perfect, Wright, maybe you can explain this for the court.
What is it?
When the murder happened, the bridge had already burned down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the inner temple courtyard, Mayor. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick.
Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she got across that burnt-out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth.
It looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation.
You see what I mean? In other words, you're in no position to suggest this lady's testimony isn't the truth.
Max Galactica flew it across. That makes about as sense as everything else in this testimony.
All right, then. Witness, let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honor?
You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will this be her final testimony? Final answer. Oh, I'm sorry. Your answer was wrong.
Oh, okay, other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess. Was the snow still falling or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there's a way to cross a burning bridge?
So it was just a misunderstanding, I see.
This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident.
Okay.
It certainly was burned to a crisp, and one of the suspension wires even snapped. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall.
Do I get that in my inventory of evidence?
Clearly, it would be impossible to carry a corpse across a bridge in this condition.
Right then. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's gonna be deemed as the truth. And Maya will be accused of murder.
Tried. I'm only gonna say it one more time. It is only human to err, and only humans can spot the errors of our ways.
The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes.
All right, Mr. Wright, please begin your final cross-examination.
Body. Okay. It's frustrating, so saving. Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. Okay, then. Yes, but if the snow had already stopped when the incident took place.
I couldn't have crossed the bridge, naturally. But I think it's just like Mr. Godo said. The body did make it across somehow. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess.
Bullcrap. But you seem to be quite sure of yourself when you gave your testimony. You said you were sure the snow had already stopped.
I'm terribly sorry. I was wrong.
Does she really think an apology is going to get her off the hook?
Was the snow still falling or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much?
I mean, yeah. This is no joke. You're given sworn testimony in a court of law.
Well, Mr. Wright, let me ask you a question. Do you remember what the weather was like on the week ago today?
Well, naturally, it was,
You see? It's not that easy to remember, is it?
But if you had been some kind of a... If it had been some kind of a special day, I would have remembered. For example, it was pouring rain on the day of my elementary school graduation.
Objection.
That's unfortunate.
No one wants to hear about your childhood traumas, right?
What?
By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. If you insist on obsessing over that one statement, let's see the proof. Show some evidence that the body somehow crossed the bridge while it was on fire.
Or are you saying there's a way to cross a burning bridge? Aren't most elementary school graduations indoors? Yeah.
Hold it!
I mean, you can remember what the weather was like on a day where you were completely indoors. Unless you're entirely sheltered. Like Fallout or whatever the heck. Kept in the vault, dying in the vault. Let's see. Hell, are there even elementary school grads? I mean, yeah. Yeah, like fake diplomas being like, look at how far you went. I had that in school. Even like for middle school, just being like, here's your middle school one. And the only one that mattered was, you know, the high school and, yeah, actual genuine article where you're just like, hi, yeah, I'm not complete bullshit. Look, I passed the schools. As useful as public school diploma is nowadays, but, you know. That's neither here nor there. Well, I don't see why there couldn't be a way across.
Mr. Wright, don't you think that sounds a bit silly?
Okay.
A dead body crossing a burning bridge. Did anyone actually witness such a thing?
If there was, I don't think you'd call someone like that a witness. After all, a dream isn't the same as actually seeing something or other.
I've come all this way, so I owe it to everyone to figure this out. But how do you transport a body across a burning bridge? Even if I don't know the exact answer yet, that's okay. I'll start by examining all of my evidence and see where that takes me. I've got to be like a shark. If I don't keep moving, I'm as good as dead. Is that true? Like, do sharks' hearts really do explode when they're not moving? Like, I heard that as a rumor, but, like, is it true? I have no idea. Sharks need to keep moving, but they won't explode. All right. It kind of reminds me of that one Pokemon, Sproink. The one that has to keep bouncing on the spring to keep its heart pumping, otherwise it dies. Are you saying that there's a way to cross a burning bridge? Well, we have somebody who's mentioned that somebody did fly over the bridge.
Objection!
Oh, God. Here we go. A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out the possibility. What?
You're saying it's possible? Don't make me laugh. The only thing that's possible at your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air.
I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen.
Preposterous. Well, who is it? Who is this witness?
I can't chicken out here. Gotta keep on the attack and go, go, go. Miss Elise Dunham's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Laurie Dunham.
Brilliant.
Highly gifted.
Apprentice? Remember what he said in his testimony? That night he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall. And that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen the sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night.
Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument?
Uh-oh. The judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket.
Well, tried. There's nowhere but you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old, does this sketch prove anything?
Yeah, better than you can draw. Better than I can draw, honestly. I wish I could draw at least marginally as good as that. I think I might be able to draw flames. Badly. Yes! I'm pretty sure it does! And I'm going to prove it!
Well, listen. I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down.
Okay.
If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with this sketch?
Upside down? Why did Godo say that? Oh no, you're not seriously
All right, then, let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show?
I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. Alright, Phoenix. Look carefully and think it over. This sketch, drawn by Laurice Denim, is... Yeah, I just thought of a thing. Because I think it was exactly what happened. Of course the victim was flying through the air. You can see it right there in the sketch. Whoosh!
You know, you're starting to remind me of yesterday's witness. That
was the last thing I wanted to hear.
Do you have any evidence that the victim flew through the air?
Just so you know, we haven't discovered a giant human catapult at the inner temple yet.
I wish they had.
Even if you're a lousy lawyer, at least you're 1 cup's worth of entertainment. I think we should skip the penalty this time.
There must be some way. I just know it. There must be a way to use Larry's sketch to show the truth of what happened.
All right, then. The witness will now return to his testimony. Yes, you're...
Oh, wait. Oh, that's it? Shit. The sketch drawn by Laurice Denim is... evidence of nothing. I'm going to say a complete contradiction. Something is obviously funny about this sketch.
I'm no art critic, but even I can see that.
No, that's not what I mean, Your Honor. Laurice Denim stated over and over that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we were to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it. It contradicts reality?
This is getting interesting. Looks like you're back to that finger-pointing thing again. Okay, try it. So what exactly contradicts reality as we know it?
Now, I'm trying to think about this. I mean, what contradicts reality as we know it? I mean, the whole flying body thing, that's the obvious bit. But I'm trying to remember where the guide wires were. Were the guide wires below the bridge? I'm going to do this first. The flying figure, naturally. After all, people haven't learned to fly yet. Or did I miss something? Mr. Wright, that answer just now, it was lethal. Shit.
Mr. Wright, after dragging us all the way to this point, the answer was embarrassing. It was so embarrassing I'm actually blushing.
Blushing only suits women, not the elderly. Point to something else, maybe? What's the contradicting thing? The thing that I thought maybe is the guide wires. Because I'm trying to recall if there were guide wires, or at least like consider. I mean, I think there were. I might need to rethink this, but let's try. It's the wire connected to the bridge.
The wire?
Is that the thing that contradicts reality?
It is indeed.
Then show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality.
Dusky Bridge photo. Let me think about this. Yeah. Yes, 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 and several yes. I see what's happening here.
That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct?
Yes. Now, compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. But on the actual Dusky Bridge,
Jumping Jehoshaphat!
the wires are below the guard wires. This dumbass saw the whole situation upside down and drew it upside down.
Order, order, order! This sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong?
Or perhaps he just drew it wrong.
Either way, it sounds like you're
Just wrong.
With someone like Maurice, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But then that begs the question. Why did he make a mistake? What was the reason?
you're saying you know the answer to that?
Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Maurice was doing when he witnessed this event. He was at Heavenly Hall, waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited, and finally he laid down. But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now ponder what sort of position Maurice must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did.
He was lying on his back? I can't see how it relates.
But it does, Your Honor. That is the reason why the wires in the sketch go up instead of down.
Oh!
No way.
Maurice Denim witnessed the event while he was lying on his back, face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down. That's some bullshit. Alright, now flip it over. Flip it over.
So that the sketch should actually...
I think you'll finally get it, Your Honor. Yeah. The correct way to view Maurice Dunham's sketch is like this. This is how it should actually look. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge. It was actually swinging below. That's right, just like a pendulum!
Ridiculous! Order, 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 order!
Of all the things to say, a pendulum. The bridge was burning to a crisp. There was no way to get across it. But if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used a burning bridge to get the body across to the other side. And a pendulum was the only way to get it done.
Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff.
Yes, that sounds right.
In order to cover that distance with a pendulum, you need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead.
The lightning strike that night can only have been an accident. So it doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then, they didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of them. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there.
In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory. What makes you think the criminal had the rope on hand to create a pendulum?
Alright, so I have a theory in my head. The rope on hand. Well, I mean, the Dusky Bridge... Let me take a look at this. I think it was... Alright, yeah, I think it was one of the guide winders that was used as the pendulum. Because it was right around the center of the bridge itself. So I think it... Okay, I think it might be the Dusky Bridge photo again. But... Let me think this through real quick. Yeah, I don't know. That fits oddly too well. Let me try this.
And the meaning of this is...
If you want to know where the rope came from, it's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard.
No! This is one of the wires from the bridge.
When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste, so they tied the wire around Elise Denim's body. My God. That's amazing. And imaginative. Oh, wow. Very convenient let go there. Because there was simply no other way to move the body. Spit take, please. Glug, 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 glug. Yeah. If he doesn't have high blood pressure from the caffeine, he's gonna have high blood pressure from me. Mr. Godo! It seems that Mr. Godo is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. It seems that the odds of a rope being readily available was very high. So I suppose that it's not an impossibility after all. There we go. Possible or impossible, that's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Trent, I wonder if you can prove what's happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung over like a pendulum? Well, we clearly have this that was hidden underneath the snow. Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Ding ding. Looking at this map, we can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. So then, that was the spot where the criminal... Yes, precisely. Now let us consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point here, it would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point.
Did you say drop?
Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank.
What makes you think something like that happened?
Because I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some evidence.
What kind of evidence?
Take a look at this autopsy report. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death.
10 feet, huh?
That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. See, I don't know if science works like that, because if you've ever seen experiments like this, you'd have to have enough momentum to actually... Like, you'd have to have enough of the momentum from the buildup of the swing in order to have the exact amount of momentum on the other side. And I don't think you would have had that. But, you know, there's me bringing in real-world logic, but whatever the hell. And then, as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose.
That's...
Yes, this blood-stained amethyst crystal is the one that came off of Miss Elise Dunham's staff. And even more important is the place where this crystal sphere was found.
Indeed, I believe it's already marked on the overhead map. The crystal was found...
Precisely, Your Honor. In the very spot where the pendulum would have arrived if given the right amount of speed. Again, there was like an extra 10 feet of momentum on top of that. I personally, I mean, if it were grounded in a real-world logic, yes. But, actually, no. The answer is no. But, you know, in Phoenix Wright, yeah, whatever. It needs to be real.
This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with a way the body could have been moved that night. An impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Mr. Wright!
I thought this cold copy might help cool you down.
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godo?
Drink.
That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, Trot. But you forgot about one thing.
Oh, and what would that be?
The aroma.
Huh?
A coffee's most reliable accomplice is its deep and profound aroma.
The rest of the court doesn't speak Coffinese. Can you elaborate a bit more?
If the criminal had sent the body to the other side like you say, then naturally there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it.
An accomplice?
The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge. So, who collected the body? What do you have to say about that, Trot?
Mr. Godo is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, You know what you must do. I know what I must do. I must save, because things worked out pretty well there. And then I need to answer who the accomplice is. Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have made it to Hazakura Temple without an accomplice. Very well, then. If you please, Mr. Wright, who was the person that received the body on the Hazakura Temple side? Okay. Good question. Well, several people that I currently have in a crosshair at this moment in time. We could be thinking about things in terms of theoretics, things of that nature. Okay, so if what Iris is saying, and if what she's saying is the truth, then I don't see it. I don't, because in theory, the person that would have done it would have been Bikini. The thing is, the theory that's in my head doesn't really line up properly with that. What I'm thinking is that Pearl changed over to Dahlia. Dahlia did the murders, and I don't even think Iris was there. Frankly, I think they're lying. I think somehow they just came up with that solution. And maybe Iris was the person on the other side, perhaps? Like, that might have been it. And then she took the body on the snowmobile and then just moved it forward. So yeah. Pearl couldn't change, remember? I feel like that might have been a lie. There's a part of me that's thinking, like, well, I mean, unless, yeah, of course, she couldn't have changed because somebody else had taken over the form. Yeah, I remember that now. You got a point. There's a part of me that feels like maybe she doesn't remember, but I'll take her word for it. Maybe just, yeah, somebody else was taking over the form at the time. Who that would be, I don't know. Certainly hope it wasn't Maya. Don't know why she would. Why she would be getting the note in the first place, anyway. Yeah, I guess the only person I could think that at least fits logistically at this moment that would appease the court would be Bikini. Well, Mr. Godo, I'm sure you have something to say.
That aroma just now, it smelled of sulfur. Perhaps it was your chance of winning rotting away.
I can't get my facts all mixed up like this. After the accomplice received the body, they carried it to Hazakura Temple. And they altered it using the Shishishito. There's only one person it can be. Bikini was on the other side. Mr. Wright, please don't stare at me like that. It's creepy. Very well, then, if you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body on the Hazakura Temple side? Yeah, I really thought it was Bikini because she was on the Hazakura Temple side, and she would have been able to fake this incident. Somehow Iris was on the other side. I don't understand that. Because, yeah, I think she was found over there. Iris? Oh my god, alright. It can only be you, Sister Iris.
Huh? But I
don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it.
Objection.
Tried, were you even listening to the witness's testimony? On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on cleanup duty in the inner temple garden after the mother-daughter bloodbath.
I haven't forgotten, but have you, Mr. Godo? This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in two different places at the same time. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony? Mention what?
The pendulum, of course. Using this sketch drawn by an eyewitness, I have established how the body was moved using the burnt-out bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum.
But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help. So you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with.
What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright?
What? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple?
Are you serious, Wright? You mean this woman is...
There's no one besides Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. The woman that's standing there at the witness stand. Her real name is... Oh, dear God. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Hawthorne?
Sister Iris had a twin sister. And you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne.
That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless. Hear those rings ding-a-ling-ding.
It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, yes, I remember now. That case, 5 years ago.
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
The honor is all mine.
No, the honor is all mine. But, according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month.
So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom.
Well put.
What? Order, order, order!
Wait a moment! How can you... My sister, she's already dead? What kind of...
You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the Kurain channeling technique flows within that body.
The Kurain channeling technique? Now, where have I heard that?
That's right. You're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. Interesting.
What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone? On the very night of the murder, to a temple where her twin sister, Iris, was?
Well, if you're going to put things that way, then... yes.
We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens?
Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions. What's that? These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hazakura Temple.
Two of them.
Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell. In other words, 10 o'clock p.m. However, Iris was seen before dinner time,
that means that Iris was at dinner. The Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that this Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her, namely one Dahlia Hawthorne.
Do you even know what you're saying, Trat? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business? Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris.
What? How? How do you know?
Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. It was later that the body was moved by pendulum.
That's right.
Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center.
Yes, I suppose. I can't deny any of that.
Oh, thank goodness. It looks like he's finally convinced.
But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night.
I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous. Ridiculous like my ridiculously caffeinated... like the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switched places.
Switch places? It'd be interesting if somehow a spirit medium that has the ability to channel could channel a twin and there would be no difference between them. That's one thing I thought maybe. To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia. Maybe she does. I don't know. Which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she has arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne? I don't know. But I'm saving just to see. Good question. Were there any moments where that could have possibly happened? Well, perhaps. Oh, maybe there was. Yeah, the moment where she was being carted in by Edgeworth, and she, yeah. At that moment, they could have made the switcheroo. Ooh. Actually, yeah. Let's think about that one. There was one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Well, explain yourself. Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown.
Unknown? What do you mean?
What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely, unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris the chance to freely move about was...
Take that!
This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not? An earthquake? Earthquake! Oh my goodness, the inner temple! This kind of tremor might... Oh, screw you, Wright! How could I have... She fled. She escaped.
We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true. Iris was already there. However, they had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne. Ooh, scandalous.
Just for that, I'm gonna make my own game with blackjack and hookers. And you know what? Forget the video game. That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now, see here. No judge in this right mind would consider the idea of...
Be quiet. What? Oh, shit! It's been a long time, Mr. Judge.
That voice.
Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current profession? Permanently retired. Yerp.
So you're not gonna bother hiding your identity anymore, huh?
Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me.
What is going on here?
Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again. And I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her, and for myself. To be continued. Yeah, something tells me this next chapter is going to be pretty long, too. Yeah. And we've already been going pretty long, and we've had a whole bunch of technical difficulties. So I don't know. I'm just... Okay, give me 1 second. Now, I'm not going to look up anything in particular. I'm just going to look at the strategy wiki and look at the chapters. 4-1, 4-2, and 4-3. We're real close to the end here. No, it is fine. I'm looking at the just the page list here. So we have 2 more chapters to go. All of them having to do with trial, and we've had a whole lot of technical difficulties. As a matter of fact, I can tell you right now that it looks like the window for XSplit is actually frozen again. Although, for some reason, somehow, it's still running. Like, I'm still connected for some reason. I just can't interact with any other window. So, I mean, frankly, what I'm thinking at this moment is, I mean, if these 2 chapters are not too ridiculously long, I kind of want to leave them off until later. Yeah, that'll do it for tonight. Thanks, everybody, for popping into the stream and saying hello. I appreciate it. If you want to take a look at this episode anytime after it's done, I'm going to be... Again, I'm going to try and fix the footage. I'm going to try and cut out all the parts where we were confused and frustrated, and I'm going to be uploading it to YouTube afterwards. I stream on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays, all of them starting at around 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, except for the D&D streams. Those have been happening at whatever time everybody is available. And here's the rundown for all of the what I have sort of lined up right now. Next Wednesday, I think I'm going to be playing Terraria again. Next Saturday is, in theory, it's going to be the finale of Deep Vines, which is the D&D campaign that we're doing. And then after that, I actually have a game that I really badly... Like, I've been waiting for this game to come out for the longest time, and I'm lining myself up to play it on Sunday. So that's going to be happening. And then, depending on how things line up, either I'm going to play Terraria on the following Wednesday after that, or if I feel like I really badly want to dive back into Phoenix Wright, I'll play it then. If not, well, depending on whether or not we don't need another session for the D&D campaign, we're definitely going to be doing it on the following Saturday. I don't know, it is complicated. I need to come up with a way to just write this stuff down somewhere. Like, maybe I could set it up on Twitch or something, like a little bit of a tentative schedule. And I don't want to line up or mark ourselves down for specific stuff just in the event something goes wrong. But that is kind of what I'm thinking right now. All right. I've been running my my voice for a really long time, so I think we're going to call it. And unfortunately, yeah, I can't click the stream end button, so we're just gonna have to end the, we're just gonna have to like cut it off right here, which is unfortunate. Like literally, I'm going to click end task in my task manager and crash the window. So that's fun. But that'll do it. Again, thanks everybody for coming out and just hanging out in the stream. See you next time.